Hey everyone, my name is Pixel, and welcome back to another episode of Selene, Apoptosis. You remember what happened last time? Ethan had an extremely freaky dream involving Hope, Selene, and snakes coming out of mouths. And then afterwards, we explained to Hope about everything that was going on in the house. And reluctantly, she didn't think we were crazy, and she actually trusted us, because that's what she should do. So we are going to go right on and see what we get into today. When the door shut behind Hope, Ethan called Laura. Hope found Laura a long time ago. Seemed like Laura helped her a lot. At least, that's what Hope herself said. Ethan didn't know any details nor wanted to, since Hope hadn't told him. After all, psychotherapy is a very personal matter. So personal that Ethan felt as if he was standing naked in the middle of a busy street when he had to describe what was happening to him. Apparently, one can get used to this too, as by the middle of the story, he was sparing no details. To Ethan's surprise, when he mentioned the disturbing emails from his contact that were kind of getting on his nerves, Laura perked up. "You're saying that you have recently become quite close to your acquaintance. You empathized and tried to help him, right?" "Well, yes. Something like that." "And your contact's letters contained vivid, disturbing imagery, yes? Imagery that invoked a certain response from you, is that right?" "You could say that. He's a writer, after all. Vivid images are his livelihood." Very, very vivid images." "Do you know what induced delusional disorder is, Mr. Harrison?" Ethan tried to recall. He definitely read about it, but didn't look into it much detail. "Is that the thing that explains mass insanity? Like that dancing plague of 1518 in Strasbourg?" "That's right. This disorder is also called folie à deux, or madness for two. Sounds romantic, doesn't it?" Laura giggled, even though she herself was not all too sane. Of course she wasn't. She had to deal with guys like me all the time. But Laura had already returned to her usual tone, calm and measured. "This condition causes perfectly healthy people to experience various, let's say, negative effects. It works like this. We have a source of delirium, and those who perceive it, one or more people. As you correctly noted, sometimes this disorder can take on a truly massive scale. There is usually an emotional connection between victims of this condition. Your wife is also at risk, unfortunately." Laura paused. "I can't make a diagnosis in such a format, Mr. Harrison. However, I think you need to limit contact with your acquaintance, at least for the time being. He might be the source of the unpleasant state you're experiencing. Would you like to make an appointment for a consultation?" "Yes, please." Or no. No, please. Ethan politely declined. "Ethan says no. I don't need to see a consultation." Laura listened to the rest of what he had to say. She asked what pills Ethan was taking. Ethan wasn't taking any except aspirin, because he had lots of headaches lately. She advised him to reduce the workload, follow the daily routine, and take light sedatives if necessary. Something herbal, maybe? Without meeting in person, there wasn't much Laura could offer, and Ethan had no energy, time, or money to start the full-on therapy, as Hope called it. Full-on therapy, just in the office, once a week, grilling for questions. Ethan thanked Laura with all his heart, finished the call, stretched, and took a deep breath that made his ribs ache. Then he smiled. Though no full-on therapy was involved, this conversation still made Ethan feel much better. The reality made sense again, and nothing out of the ordinary was happening. Nothing he couldn't handle. He stretched again and was about to go out for another cup of coffee when his breath, the steady, deep breath of a man who's in control, caught in his throat. Uh-oh. Ethan felt the small hairs on his neck standing up. Someone was looking at the back of his head. "Oh no, not again." Ethan turned around slowly. "Who are we gonna see back there?" "I'm calling the police." Ethan spoke each word loud and clear. It was a decent plan. An actually decent one, and certainly wasn't funny in any way. And yet, the girl sitting on the window sill was silently laughing, covering white teeth with her hand. "Selene, we gotta stop meeting up like this." The girl from the supermarket. The girl from the dream. "Hey, don't you be looking at me like that." She was still wearing a light white dress, even though in the morning the temperature dropped to 53 degrees Fahrenheit and it was going to rain. One of the straps fell down to the side, but the girl was in no hurry to put it back. She swung her crossed legs a little, looking at Ethan from under her brow with the smile of a child who had hilarious mischief in mind. "Did I say something funny?" The girl quickly raised her eyes and shrugged slightly, still holding back the smile. Just as before, she did not make a sound. Ethan even assumed she could be mute, but decided to make one last attempt. Just one question, and then he calls the cops. "Who are you?" The girl's eyes became round and her face turned into a surprised grimace. Overly surprised. Ethan immediately remembered the time when he and Hope came across a couple of street mimes. She poked her thin finger into her chest, which made her tense nipples show up for a second under the thin fabric of her dress. "Me? I am what you're looking for." She spoke slowly, stretching out her vowels with some kind of delight. A moment later, the girl reached for something behind her back, quickly pulled it to her lips, and took a sip. Ethan's throat became tight with blood that abruptly rushed to his head. How did you get this?" The girl traced Ethan's gesture with a genuinely surprised look, and the next moment she parted her fingers. "Oh no! You're breaking my window!" Hope's huge, colorful cup, the one they just got at the store, tinkled hurtfully as it struck the floor, and then shattered to pieces. Just like that, there was a brief moment when the cup was lying peacefully on the floor. Ethan got enough time to hope it would endure the fall. And then the fragments burst everywhere at once as the furious white light broke out from the inside. But no, that was milk. Just some milk. "You shouldn't have spooked me, you know. Now look what you've done. The poor cup is so broken. So many eeny, tiny pieces. There's no way to mend it all." Ethan was suffocating. "What the hell are you doing here? What do you want from me?" The girl bit her lip and twisted a fallen shoulder strap between fingers. The top of the dress slid even lower. "Do you want me to leave? But I may run into Hope. Right at the door, Ethan. She forgot her pass and will be here any minute. What will the poor girl think?" "Yes, can I help you, Selene?" The girl looked over her shoulder and her face instantly lit up. Oh, it's her. Here she is. Hope is simply amazing, accurate to a minute. Hello. The girl turned over on her stomach, leaned on the sill, and waved vigorously to someone invisible. Her dress completely slid down. That bitch. Ethan would bet her tits are flashing right through the window. Don't drag her. Don't come any closer. What? Oh no, Hope. Ethan couldn't see it, but he knew. He felt that Hope was really standing down there, and she was looking at the window, of course, although she couldn't see much anymore as a blurry veil covered her eyes. "Selene, you are a right bitch." The girl slowly turned around and stared at him with her eyes wide open without blinking. Her shoulders shook as if she was going to cry, but she was laughing. Oh, really? An evil, maniacal laugh? At first, it was a couple of stifled laughs. Then became a laughter of someone who just heard a great joke and gradually turned into wild, barking screams. He has to stop it. Right now. Ethan wanted to rush to the window, but took just one step and froze in place. The girl must be out of her mind. She's stoned, or worse. She might have a syringe, and he doesn't want any more problems. He only wants this thing removed from his windowsill, welded in a steel box, and dumped somewhere in the middle of the Atlantic. He still had his phone in his hand. Uh-oh. Oh, those eyes didn't look too good. 911, what's the address of your emergency? The bitch shrank, hunched, kept cackling like a pack of coyotes yelping on a moonlit night. She was writhing with laughter, and the pale rags of dry, flabby skin were shaking in the rhythm of her movements, her dress looking like a death shroud. He suddenly thought she was much older than he thought at first. What's going on? Ethan looked at her for the last time, a mixture of hate and disgust in his eyes. He turned away, running his fingers through his hair. There's a stranger in my apartment. A woman, most likely on drugs or just insane. Can you see her right now? Ethan could only see the wall in front of him, but he heard a deafening howl. It was echoing throughout his skull, beating into his temporal bones like a desperate bird. Ethan clenched his teeth. Yes. Does she have a weapon? Maybe. She threatened me. Can you leave the apartment? No. This scum can escape. And I don't want her to get... Ethan hesitated. I can't hear you, sir. What is happening? Speak up. I can't hear you. What is happening? The terrifying laughter kept echoing in Ethan's ears. And Selene just stood there and stand. There was no one behind him. Woo! That is where we're going to leave it off for today. Thank you guys so much for watching. It is getting really intense now. Now Selene is just showing herself to Ethan, and now she's threatening him, she's taunting him, and she is actually talking for once. What in the world does Selene have planned for Ethan? We're going to have to find out in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed what you saw, feel free to like the video. You want to see more of this content? You want to follow along with this story? Subscribe to the channel, hit the bell, get notified when other episodes come out. Thank you guys again for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye now.